Hello and welcome to the End User Report. This is Clarence. Next to me is the man with the tinfoil hat.
I'm Jamal.
And today's discussion we are going to talk about the future of TV. So Jamal, why don't you give us some background information about the technologies that you see out there currently with TV?
Okay, well, I guess we could start with the old school, different type of backlit technologies that you probably know about. First is obviously CRTs, which is cathode ray tubes. Think of it as those old TVs with the bubbles to them.
Yeah, you turn them off and you get that little pinpoint in the middle of the screen.
That's right. Put a magnet to it. It's a lot of fun. DLP, which is digital light processing. I don't know if you ever see those stupid commercials with the girl. It's mirrors.
Yeah, I know. It's horrible.
The concept of that is that it's a projection style TV, but it uses mirrors. It has this really microscopic mirror processing inside of the actual chip.
I will say it does provide for a beautiful picture, though.
It does. Unfortunately, the downside to that is that you have what we call the screen bezel is going to be a lot thicker than most LCD or LED TVs. Which leads me to LCDs with liquid crystal displays, which is probably the most popular TV screen backlit technology out there. Although
also because it's the cheapest still.
Yeah, it's the cheapest now. Then you have LED, which is the light emitting diodes, which is the new bad boy on the block. I think if you're into getting a TV, that would probably be something you might want to look into. A little bit more expensive, though.
A little bit more green. That's probably why it's going to use about 40% less energy than your standard
and actually,
LCD would.
Yes. Then you have obviously plasma, which a lot of companies seem to be tending to go away from. And the last is the OLED, which is organic light emitting diodes. It uses organic properties to send the light signals. But the problem with OLED is that it's really expensive, and it's really meant for small screens like cell phone, smartphones type stuff like that. Then of course we talk about refresh rates, 60, 120 hertz, and 240 hertz. 60 hertz being the most common, and to be honest with you, if you're looking for a TV, yeah, it's nice to get something that's 240 hertz, but everything is broadcasted in 60 hertz right now, so
yeah, you might as well just go for that. When he says megahertz, he's referring to the refresh rate, which is how often the image is getting painted on your screen.
Exactly.
So if you remember with some of those older cathode ray TV that you were talking about, you could see that kind of flicker in the room. You know, when you're watching TV in the dark, you've kind of got that flicker going on.
The best way to describe the hertz too is when you're watching action films, and this is when you really want to have like a 120 or 240 hertz screen. Is when you're watching action or sports, you'll get that visible blur if you have a lower hertz rating TV. With a higher, like 120 to 240, you won't get that blur. Now that's, for some people, it's not a sticking point. For others, it's a major sticking point, and they.
If you watch a lot of Blu-ray movies, it's definitely a sticking point.
Yeah, it is. Last thing I want to talk about is basically resolution. I'm just going to talk about two, which is probably the most prevalent in the market: 720 and 1080, and they both come in P and I. Basically, the P stands for progressive, and the I stands for interlaced. What progressive scan means, first of all, you want something with P in it. So like if you're going to buy a TV, 1080p, or if you're going to settle for a 720, get a 720p.
Yeah, it is better, especially when it comes to objects in fast motion, especially sporting events.
Exactly.
You want the progressive. Basically, when he's describing the two, interlaced means every other line on your screen is getting painted as far as the pixels on your screen. Progressive means the whole image is getting painted at once.
Yeah, exactly. And the lines itself, like the 720 is the amount of lines that are on the screen, and the 1080 is the amount of lines that are on the screen as well. The last thing we're going to talk about is really the 3D TV, which is introduced back in CES 2010. Samsung and Sony. Sony just came out with their 3D TVs in Japan, and actually they're introduced in America now, and LG. What do you think about this whole 3D technology going on with these TVs?
Well, the stuff that's out there right now, I don't think it's going to stick around. You see Sony leading this thing here, giving you glasses. And the one thing that I think of is, yeah, okay, the way that they're doing it now is everyone has to have a set of glasses.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of people out there, and on the Sunday, they want to watch football, invite people over.
Mm-hmm.
10, 15 people over. Do you have 10 to 15 pairs of glasses for everybody?
No.
How's that going to work? And,
Exactly.
There's obviously going to be
and it's
adult
expensive.
glasses and kids glasses that are running, what, $150 a pair?
The minimum I've seen the price is $100 a pair, and on top of that, the glasses aren't. There's no standardization. In other words, you can't pick up a Sony pair of glasses and watch them on a Samsung TV, which is again another I think drawback to it. I think perhaps the biggest drawback, because if there was content, which I don't think there is, there's not many 3D television stations out there, and
No, ESPN's doing it, but I don't know. I mean, how does that?
It's not.
Well, does that work? I mean, didn't Jerry Jones try this, and people were taking their glasses off before the game was over? Just stop with the 3D stuff.
There's not many DVDs or Blu-rays with 3D in it. I know Sony, what was it, Samsung, did some kind of agreement.
I give it 5 years.
Well,
done.
I'll put it like this: I don't give it 5 years. If broadcast TV, if DVD markets and Blu-ray market does not catch up with the technology, then you're right. It's a done deal. 3D is going to be a technology that's really going to be more.
It's going to be like it was back in the 80s. It was here for about 5 years and it was dead.
Yeah, but I mean,
Go on.
have you actually the 3D on TVs right now? Looks good, and they have also this other technology. Obviously, if you buy a 3D TV,
be prepared to make a major investment.
Yeah, prepare to make a major investment, but keep in mind too that not everything. In other words, you can still watch 2D programs. It just converts back. It's just like when you just watch a 3D movie or a broadcast, it'll be able to project it for you.
Well, I do know that Samsung is planning on coming out with a TV that you don't need the glasses for it to get to 3D, and my concern is eye fatigue. I know when I went to watch The Last Airbender, I had those glasses on for a couple hours, and by the end of it, my eyes were watering. There's only so much 3D content you can watch. I think eye fatigue should be a concern or something people should think about.
I think the real question is, you actually sat through the whole movie of Airbender?
I had my kids with me. I had no choice. They wanted to see the movie.
I would have just said eye fatigue by the first minute. Man,
Besides, the 3D version was extra. I paid a lot of money to go there.
Horrible.
It was horrible.
M. Night Shyamalan should never step foot in Hollywood ever again.
I think it should have been banned when he made The Village, okay? That was horrible.
But what do you think the future of TVs like? What do you see now?
I think the immediate future of TV is going to be TVs that incorporate the internet and internet apps into them. Right now, more than ever, you see a lot of people out there using the internet to watch TV. You see the success of services like Netflix and sites like Hulu, and I think businesses out there have really taken notice of that, and they want to cash in. So you see things out there like Apple TV coming out with Generation 2 supposedly later on this month.
Speaking of Apple TV, and I know this is a side note, but what do you think about the 99 cents pricing for movies? I know it's kind of off topic, but...
Well, I think 99 cents is for the shows to rent them. I think movies are like $3.99.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the 99 cents to rent to lease a show or something like that?
What I think is dev team should work on that. Get us a jailbreak, because... it's going to be running. It's going to be running iOS 4. So
I don't see the revenue generator there yet. I mean, with music, yeah, but I don't see how.
I don't. Well, here's the thing with even Apple TV and Google TV. If you look at it, if you're savvy enough, you can do this stuff with a computer. You don't need
exactly
these devices,
and you can get it for free.
But here's the thing, though. If people were that tech savvy, yeah, we wouldn't have apps in the first place. I mean, I have an app for my phone that lets me go to Yahoo Mail at like one button press.
True.
Why is it too strenuous to go to the website and enter in your username and password?
Maybe
apparently it is. But
getting back to the topic at hand.
Getting back to the topic at hand is, I do see a lot of companies. I know Sony and Samsung are starting to make devices that are preloaded with internet apps. Mm-hmm. A little bit about Apple TV. It is going to broadcast at 720p. Again, mentioned it's going to be running iOS 4. Of course, it's going to have your access to iTunes because you're not going to have an device that doesn't have that. And again, TV shows, 99 cents. My feelings on it.
Well, let's talk about the technology.
Here's the problem with this before we move on here.
Yeah,
they're going to be handling that much like they're handling the iPhone, which means you download their stuff is their stuff. You're not.
Well, yeah, you're probably going to have an iTunes account and all this other stuff.
Exactly.
And, So,
So the way to think of it, people, it's almost like having an iPhone on your TV.
Oh, it's typical. Yeah, if you like Apple, you like Apple products, and you're
we know that's
not
something that
this is something that's going to work for you.
Google TV is interesting to me because it's actually an Android-based OS. It's gonna actually be compatible with cable boxes, and it's gonna actually let you use the internet while you're watching TV. For one of the things that they showed on the video was you can actually look up the stats of your fantasy team while you're watching a game. It'll actually minimize the screen almost like a picture-in-picture and allow you to use the internet to do what you need to do. And I think that's the direction that we're going to start to see TV going in.
Well, let's just talk about, we talked about software, let's talk about the hardware side of it and what we see in the future. Obviously the trend is going to be thinner screens. In other words, you're going to have bezels that are probably going to be less than an inch, maybe even lesser. I know there's a company out there right now which makes bezels called Runco Window Wall. Actually, Samsung makes the bezels, and they're like 7.33 millimeters.
Which is ridiculous.
Ridiculous, yeah. I mean, so it's like you could fill your whole wall. Which gets to the next point. There's 80-inch screens. And the last thing is TVs. They're going to come out with 240 hertz, and you'll probably see broadcasts that'll probably going to be at least 120 to 240 hertz. So, all right. So we got the next thing we talked about. It's called Mashup, and why don't you start it up there?
All right. This is just where we talk about some headlines that we see and just give a quick opinion on it. T-Mobile gets sued for blocking a marijuana-related text. Jamal, what do you feel about that?
Let my people go.
Oh, wow.
Hey, I don't know. Was it illegal? I don't know. I guess if you're just talking about marijuana. Microsoft Game Manager Kudo Tsunoda claims that Kinect will blow away iPad sales.
Yeah, why don't you worry about competing against the Move, okay? Worry about that and then come back and talk to us.
What is he talking about?
Who knows? Apple now is selling refurbished iPads starting as low as $449.
Well, that's because people, suckers, you just bought Generation 1, because in 2 months, Generation 2 is coming out, and that's what the rumors are. So all you suckers that bought the 800 iPads, I feel bad for you.
It's a $50 difference, dude.
No, kidding. The high-end ones, $800,
it's like a $50 difference. For
800 ones are huge. They're like $800 for the ones with the 3G and all this other crap on it.
You're such an Apple hater.
Sorry, guys.
All right. The Samsung Galaxy Tab is due to come out on all 4 major phone carriers.
Loving it. Loving it.
Yeah, we know why you're loving it.
Good job, Samsung. Good job. I'll be there. Boy. Go ahead. Oh, last one. It's this iPhone smartphone shares drops. iPhone smartphone shares dropped to 24%, but Android shares go up 17%. Ooh.
We talked about this. They're on your heels, Apple. On your heels. But that does just about do it for us here at the End User Report. This is Clarence.
This is Jamal.
You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Of course, that's the End User Report. Also, you can send us an email at the end user report at twcny.rr.com. And don't forget, comment and subscribe on YouTube.
Peace.